Aphrodite, we are back. We are back in the saddle again. Hey, welcome back, everybody. My name is Bill Miksch. I'm president of WDMA Financial Group in Graves Lake, Illinois, where we protect your life, we protect your health, we preserve your wealth, and we guarantee an income, your income for the rest of your life, and I could not say it if it weren't true. And tonight's show, folks, is going to be on those last two platitudes. Preserve your wealth and guarantee an income for the rest of your life, at least as a part of your portfolio. We are going to go through the stages of what a person may have to go through to figure out how to unpack all of this stuff. And I'll get to that. That's a very key subject matter here, because it's all about what do you do when you hit retirement, that you're right at the doorstep, and now how do you unpack this thing when you've been used to, ostensibly, you've been taken care of by your employer or variety of different employers for the last 40 years. How do you do that? We're going to get into that tonight. Sean is on assignment. He is enjoying some time in Nashville on a break. So, Sean, enjoy yourself. If you're listening, my friend, find out where I can do some what do you call those? Find out where I could do some places where I can play guitar that nobody goes to, so that I can get my feet wet in Nashville. If you're listening. So anyway, Sean's gone. So that means if you want to stump the master, you can call 262-342-6588. If I know who you are, I promise I won't bust you. I won't identify you. So my friends in Indiana, my friends in Naperville, my friends in Florida, my friends in California, if you're listening, Texas, Arizona, if you're listening to me and you want to call me up and ask me a question, knock yourself out. You can pretend to whoever you want to be. You can be Bugs Bunny in the Roadrunner Hour. You can be Milton Friedman. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. I won't identify you and bust your confidence there. But ask away. Area code 262-342-6588. This is your insurance corner at 101.5 FM WLCB, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. Welcome. I took a little time off last week, folks. If you saw what my schedule is, you'd be like, how are you even standing? And I'm just going to give you a flavor of yours truly. I'm not looking for, a pat on the back or anything. I'm just letting you know what the deal is so that you can understand if I come into the station and I'm dragging my butt in here, you know why. So we got two companies that I run, a brokerage firm and an administration firm. We are in the midst of still developing music for the CD that we're playing. I'm also in the church choir, and tonight, in fact, they changed the schedule. So tonight is an abbreviated show. We're going to cut off at about 6:45 because I have to get to rehearsal, because we're doing a song in 4 parts, and I do bass along with 3 or 4 other wonderful singers in our church choir. I'm also got this radio show, obviously. And then just recently, for those of you who might not know what this is, I've been appointed, or I don't know, selected, whatever the word is, to this thing called the Stevens Ministry. So there's a 50-week training schedule that's involved with that, and it's fairly intense. It's a lot of work, lots of preparation, lots of study. So I'm getting up early in the morning to do those kind of things, and I do my work, and then I prepare for the show, and lots of moving parts. So there was a point last week where I'm like, I'm done, got to go home, and I'm done. So we're back here now. Next week, there is a possibility, folks, that I might not be here. My son Trevor and I are heading into northern Wisconsin to go muskie fishing. So if I'm not here, it's because I'm packing the car, we're wanting to get out of Dodge and get up to the Northwoods and go find walleye and muskie and see if we can have a good time. Trevor has never caught a smallmouth bass, never a walleye, never a muskie as far as I know. He's caught a lot of panfish and bass, but not smallmouth bass. So I'm really excited to take him up with me to see what his reactions are when he catches fish that he's never seen before in the wild, especially if we hook into a muskie. So we'll see how that goes. So stay tuned. If we do have a show, it's going to be abbreviated because I need to sleep to get up to the Northwoods the next day. So that being said, Sean's not here. We're going to cut right to the chase. Just a couple little tidbits. As you know, I always start off with this because I'm a big sports fan. I believe hockey has started. Who cares? Blackhawks are not very good. Again, sadly. Don't know anything about the Bulls. I think they're still in preseason. We are in World Series time, and we've got, as of yesterday, I think yesterday, day before last, the Dodgers are going up against the Yankees, so it's a coast-to-coast series. Should be good. Both teams are very good. I was frankly hoping for the Mets in Cleveland, but that didn't happen. So we'll see what happens there. As I said, tonight's going to be an abbreviated show. We're going to end promptly at 6:45 so I can get to the church for a choir rehearsal. So let's get into it, folks. Let's talk about retirement planning. So what does that look like? And I'm just going to read, for those of you who didn't see the notations, just saw the fact that I've got a show tonight, I'm just going to read what I put out there. Advisors, employers, the media, and you as a consumer do a great job in helping or preparing for the day you may retire. How much do I put away every month? When do I want to retire? What does health care and Medicare look like? What does that cost? Where does Social Security fit in, and when do I take it? And now you're at the door, and there's a bazillion other questions. And now you're at the doorstep. How do you unpack the last 10 to 40 years of hard work and planning, where you were in an environment where you were, to some degree, taken care of, structure was there, you got hired by a company, they said, here's your medical plan, here's your dental plan, here's your vision plan, here's your 401k plan, we match, let's say, 3%. You start the planning. Maybe you hire a financial advisor. Maybe you're doing it on your own. It's all the same at some degree. I will tell you that hiring a financial advisor is probably, for most of you, is probably a better deal than trying to do it yourself. This is not to say that you're not going to do a good job by yourself, but statistically, people do better if they have an advisor, because the advisor is going to bring things to the table that you're not thinking about. And some of it has to do with product, and some of it has to do with just what do you have to do to prepare for yourself. So you've got all these things that were happening for you, structured. You were structured, fully structured. Everything's taken care of for you. Medical, dental, vision, everything's being handed to you. You pay for those things. You set aside money for your retirement. Maybe you got lucky and you have a pension plan. That's great. That's going to be a part of the analysis, obviously. But then you get to the doorstep. How do you unpack this? All of these years you've been putting away and being told, put away 10%, put away 8%, put away 12%, whatever the number is. I will say, at least in the numbers category, at a bare minimum, you should be matching whatever the employer is allowing. So if they're putting in 3, put in 3. At least you're getting 6%. If you want to get a shot at making sure you have enough money, if the employer's doing 3, you should be doing 10. And if you can't do 10 right away, start at 3 and work your way up. I'm talking about you doing 10, not the combination of 3 and 7. The combination of 10 and 3. So 13% is going into the fund. You should get to 10 if you can. The Holy Grail, in my opinion, is 15. If you get to 15%, I don't care what the market does. You'll be fine. Market goes up or down. You're putting so much money away. This concept of time value of money is going to override any ups and downs of the marketplace. You're going to be fine. But you've been doing all this, and you get to the end of the rainbow, well, maybe not the end of the rainbow, but you get to the point where you're at the doorstep of retirement. How do you unpack this? No, very few people talk about this. And how do I know? Because I spend a lot of time with Medicare. And I can't tell you folks how many questions I get where somebody's turning 65 or getting ready to go on to Medicare, and they have no idea what that looks like. More to the point, they might say, I'm working, I don't have to go on to Medicare, or somebody told me I have to go on to Medicare, otherwise I'm going to get penalized. And what did I say earlier? Working with an advisor avoids that problematic situation where you're depending on a friend or a neighbor to guide you through these complex, and they are complicated, folks. They're not simple. I hate to say that, but they're complicated. Lots of moving parts. You get to that doorstep, and how do you unpack? How do you unpack? What's the rule? Is there a rule? And keep in mind, you have to unpack this knowing that you may live another 20, 25, 30 years. 2 or 3 more decades you could live. So you've worked 40 years to get to that spot. Now you've got to unpack all of this. What's that look like? How much money do you have saved? Some people are very good and very disciplined at saving and stay within their means. Some have no trouble doing this. Some are not very good at doing this, and some can't. Because of whatever the reasons, they either don't make enough money, they're hand to mouth, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's the cards they're dealt. The cost of living is stupid money. We're not going to get into that tonight, God knows. But it is related to how much money do you need to sustain or maintain your lifestyle? How much money? I've had this conversation in the past too. Well, I got $1.2 million in my 401k. That's great. You should be given a standing ovation for the hard work you did. Over 20 years, that's about $60,000 a year. How much were you making before, sir? Well, I was making 100. Oh, okay. Well, how much money do you need in today's dollars? Ask yourself, how much money in today's dollars do you need to maintain your lifestyle? And a lot of times people are going to look and say, well, I know I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. Well, that's possible, but not likely. Why? Because if you want to stay in the same or similar lifestyle, you're going to be in the same tax bracket. Your taxes are going to be slightly different. You're not going to have FICA taken out of your check or Social Security money taken out of your check. But you are going to have income tax. That is for sure. And depending on the state you live in, the income tax may be substantial or may be negligible. You've got living expenses. You've got tax on food and groceries and clothes and gasoline, and you've got medical care to deal with. So you've got a whole bunch of other things now that you have to be concerned about. So how much money do you have to make or bring in on a monthly basis to maintain your lifestyle? Let's just keep it simple. Let's say you've got $1 million. That's $50,000 a year for 20 years, and you're out of money. And by the way, that's 50 gross. If all of your money is in a 401k and you need 50, you're probably going to need to pull 60 or 65 to get net 50. Now you've accelerated that time limit of running out of money from 20 years in real terms to maybe 15. Now, this presumes, of course, that you make no money. I want somebody to tell me whether or not they guarantee that they're, one, not going to run out of money, and guarantee that they're going to consistently have a 5% rate of return in their retirement money. Now, today they might be getting 5 or 4% in their CDs, But are you needing that 4 or 5% to live on? Or is that money going to have to go towards taxes? Because keep in mind, if you need 50 to live on, you're probably going to need 60 to 65,000 net, or I mean gross. How much money a month do you need? How much money a month do you need? Then factor in where you're living, health care, taxes. You're going to have to factor in taxes somewhere along the way. You're not going to be able to not pay taxes unless, of course, you converted all your money to a Roth. We're going to get into that particular discussion in a later show in the context of what we're talking about here. But I will say this, just a little teaser, be careful what you ask for. Because depending on when you convert the Roth, you might have created a tax-free income on those dollars, but you may have doubled or tripled your Medicare Part B premiums when you least expect having that to happen. I'm going to leave that as a teaser. I want you to think about that. If you converted all your money while you were 50, let's say between 55 and 60 years old, you're going to be fine. You're not going to have a problem. But if you convert all those dollars to tax-free dollars at 65, 66, 67, I'm here to tell you, I'm promising you, you have just caused yourself a world of hurt in terms of your Part B premiums for Medicare. So you got to think about your health care costs. What kind of health care do you want? Where are you living? Do you have health care issues that you have to pay attention to? And again, you've got $1 million. That's great. So what are the factors that you have to consider when you're starting to unpack all of this? Because keep in mind, now you have to go get your health insurance. You might have to go buy a dental plan. You might have to go buy a vision plan. You don't need disability anymore because you've got Social Security. So that's one aspect of it. But then here's a separate question. When do you take your Social Security? Anybody born after 1960, their full retirement age is 67. If you take your money earlier and you're not working, no problem. You're going to take a little bit of a haircut, but you can do that. But if you're still working, be careful, again, what you ask for, because what you thought was a good idea may come back to bite you. And I'll give you an example. I looked into this myself just for own curiosity purposes. This is about 2 years ago. I looked into it, and I said, I'm making X number of dollars a year, and I'd like to take my Social Security now. What does that look like? And the lady said, well, first of all, if you do, that's fine. But when you do your taxes, because of the amount of money you're making, we're going to ask for all of it back at a time you file your taxes. That was enough for me to put the brakes on really fast to go, okay, bad idea, not doing that. But I asked because I was curious, because I'm getting closer to that space where I have to start to ask my own questions, right? So in the context of being my own advisor in this particular context, I did my own homework so that I could be a little sharper, a little smarter, and be able to advise my clients a little bit better. The general thought is that you wait, if you're working, you wait until your Social Security full retirement age before you take your Social Security. So let's just say that's going to be $2,500 and you need 5,000. That's awesome. So now you need a net 2,500. So now it's not $5,000 a month that you need. It's now $30,000 net that you need, which means you're probably at 40,000. So you're okay. You could theoretically, even if you didn't make any money, you could extend that for 22, 23, 24 years theoretically. But inflation is going to erode that away. God knows the taxes and the tax laws are going to change. How they treat Social Security going forward from year to year is going to change. And then your health care and property taxes where you live are all going to go up, God knows. So the idea that you can sit on $5,000 a month consistently for 20 years is foolhardy. Not going to happen. You're going to have to bump that number up. But can you run out of money? You absolutely can. Let me share a story with you. Now, this is not mine. This is one I heard on the radio. And this may be a prelude to the discussion that we're going to. The advisor had two people in his fiefdom. Each of them had about $1.2 million, $1.3 million in their portfolio. One person decided that they could manage their money on their own, and in 10 years, their portfolio had dropped from 1.3 down to about $186,000 in about 12, 13, 14 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. They're almost out of money. They're almost out of money. The other person, same kind of situation, decided to buy a product that guaranteed him and his wife an income for the rest of their collective lives, irrespective of the portfolio, irrespective of the pool of money that they started with. They were going to be guaranteed an income for the rest of their lives. Now, in this particular case, the income was a flat amount. It wasn't going to increase, so it does kind of violate a little bit of the precept of how do you factor in inflation. But Social Security was getting an inflationary bump, so they were able to do that. Plus, they had some other funds sitting outside of this product in Social Security, kind of like their play money, where they could still stay invested. And they ended up being okay. They were never going to have to worry about their income between Social Security and this product that guaranteed them an income for the rest of their lives. Now, I've had a couple of situations recently where we put these same products together for clients, and when we factored in the mathematics and we looked at what they were making for Social Security and looked at what they were making with a small pension that this one person had, and then the product that was going to guarantee an income for the rest of their life, they actually were making more money at retirement than they were before retirement. Let me say that again. They were making more money after retirement, gross, versus what they were making before they retired. And to see the look on their faces and the joy in their eyes and the relief that they knew that they were going to be okay made an advisor like myself to be incredibly pleased and very happy for them. That's what an advisor brings to the table. Not all advisors are the same. So you've got really good ones and really schmucky ones. But at the end of the day, it's not about the advisor. It's about who you're advising. It's about your client. It's about you. It's about you. This product that I'm referring to are annuities. Now, I know some of you on the radio went, oh, annuities, oh, back away. I don't like those. Those are bad things. Well, historically, where did you understand how annuities worked? Because historically, you're not wrong. The older products that our parents had and their grandparents had possibly were such that while they guaranteed an income, if you died prematurely, the money would go back to the insurance company. Those days, ladies and gentlemen, are long gone. These products have evolved to the point where you not only can get a guaranteed income for life, even if you run out of the pool of money that the money is being drawn from, the income by contract is still promised to you. These contracts have evolved to the point where if you suffer a medical condition where you need long-term care, whether it's home care or nursing home, some of these products will allow you to invade the principal penalty-free and take what you need in order to pay for your long-term care needs. Now, it gets a little more complicated when you're taking an income, but either way, that kind of topic, folks, is definitely not in your pension plan. Pensions are great, don't misunderstand. But if you liquidate your pension and put it into an annuity, it is very possible that we not only will give you the same pay schedule that you were going to get for your pension plan, and guarantee an income for life, much like the pension plan, guaranteed income for life, but for some of these products, they will also allow you to invade the principal for long-term care, particularly if you don't have a long-term care policy. That is critical for some people so that they don't have to liquidate their house or sell it and move into a two-room tent with a porta potty. I'm being facetious. But they don't have to sell assets in order to cover their long-term care. They can invade the principal. And in some cases, there is what's called a doubling effect of that income. We're going to get into the specifics of that in a later show. So where can you get a guaranteed income? Social Security, yes. Pensions, yes. Annuities, yes. 401k, no. 403b, probably. Assuming it's going to be turned into an annuitization of a payment schedule, yes. 457s, depends. But pensions are going to guarantee you an income, assuming the company or the state or federal entity that is sponsoring those pensions is still solvent. Social Security is going to be, at least allegedly, a guaranteed income. If the Congress doesn't get their act together by the year 2033, that may be a bigger problem. But just for now, you're fine. 401ks cannot. So any advisor, even the good ones, if they say to you, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, you have $1 million with me, we can generate a 4% rate of return, and you can live on that interest, or a 5% rate of return, and you can live off the interest and never invade your principal. Yeah, maybe. What if the market takes a crap? And now you're down to half. You're down from $1 million to 500,000. You don't have time to catch up. And that income that you were generating at 5%, that looks like a whole different problem now that you're down to $500,000. A whole different problem. So how do you guarantee an income? The only way, Social Security, pension, and annuity. Those are the three ways I can assuredly tell you, no matter what, that you're guaranteed an income for life, with the caveats that Social Security is in trouble and the pension company has to be solvent enough. And by the way, the insurance company that you're buying the annuity from better be solvent enough. And that's up to the insurance agent to make sure he's representing a company that's got enough assets to be able to carry the day. And in that regard, I'm going to take a break here at 6:30. We got 15 minutes left, so we're going to cut right to the chase once we get back. My name is Bill Miksch. I'm president of WDMA Financial Group in Grayslake, Illinois. This is Your Insurance Corner, and we will be right back after these short messages.